we'll make a start, and we'll start recording as well. You should see the online meeting number 7 up in front of you. Just give me a quick okay if you can see this slide deck and not just my head. Thank you. Yeah, great. So just a quick update from Russell, who can't join us because he's in a completely different time zone and space and place at the moment. He's gone to Zurich in the so he's out of Victoria now and is now in Europe. He still will be a part of the squad, and he's still going to be your biggest critic. And we really want to just take the time to mention that, you know, he was really motivational and really kept us fueled in this first half. So thanks, Russell, for your efforts, and he'll definitely stay on the Facebook chat, but just play a lesser role, and we won't get to meet him in Perth to judge. Did you want to say a quick hello and let us know how you're going in New South Wales?
Yep. Hello, everyone. I am going very well. Exciting news. I'm full-time in my own business now, which is a huge thing, 4 years in the making. I just wanted to say a quick thing about this whole WorldSkills journey while it's my time. I can see that there's not a lot of hype about all that's going on at the moment, and totally fair enough. When I was leading up to Nationals, I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I just wanted to say, if anyone wants to ask questions about the process, what you're actually getting into, I would so love to answer any questions if you want a Facebook message or whatever. But yeah, you're not alone in this, and I know it can feel a little stale almost because we still haven't met in person, but keep doing it because it's going to be the best thing ever. And yeah, that's all for me.
Thanks, Indy. And Josie and Annabelle, do you want to say anything in terms of how you're going? How you're coping? Annabelle, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to get back into it. I think I'm going insane. I haven't been doing much design stuff, and I'm like, I'm ready. It's so weird not like starting back up the cave. Like I'm used to being like right into it already, and I'm like just waiting around. I'm very keen.
Yeah, thanks, Annabelle. And Josie, you're okay? If you've got a microphone, you can turn on and say a quick hello.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Yeah. It'll be nice to get back to some design work. Haven't had much to do for a while in terms of design.
And are you studying this semester, Josie, or are you finished up?
I'm attempting to get into Deakin, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, very good. Yeah, fingers crossed. We're back, so TAFEs are opening up again, and this is our second week, so it is a little bit different, but Deakin would be fabulous. Thanks, everyone. Well, let's share this Chrome tab again, and I'll speak for a little bit, and just I can talk actually to the slides as we go and sort of update you on how we're going here in Perth, and just echo what Indy's saying. We've only really got 6 months to go. This is a really strange squad in the sense that you're all remote. We haven't really got to know you too much, but we are seeing your work come in, and we're really flattered, and we're really, frankly, really proud of what you're doing remotely. So Jordan, Taylor, and Kelsey, thanks so much for flicking through this Women in Hospitality brief, which actually had real outcomes. So this is real world prizes. And we also had another student, Melanie, put together a logo. So the client sort of provided some feedback. I'll make sure, and I've chased that up so you understand that this is a real thing. And whilst they're slow and they're only just getting off the ground, Women in Hospitality and Tourism really pleased with what you produced. So thanks for that. And also, again, what Indy was saying, it's not that you don't have to be super excited. It's really hard to get excited on a Facebook group or even just a sort of monthly meeting where you essentially get more work on top of your existing life. But this is really going to happen. This is really going to happen in 6 months in August in Perth. And then it's really going to happen in Shanghai in August and November the following year. So we've just come out of a lockdown. Perth had like massive bushfires, and then we had floods in the Gascoyne, and then we were locked down for a week, and then masks for a week. And it's going to cloud everything. And I know Victorians, you know, into their snap lockdown now, and now New Zealand's got it. It's just this horrific thing that we're dealing with, you know, for the foreseeable. But Australia's the best place in the world to be at the moment. So we have to sort of also focus on the positives that we are going to make this happen. If they can get the tennis up and running, and I'm sure they're going to be able to get the skill show off the ground here in Perth. So let's chat about the new brief. This was potentially going to be your first assessment in Perth. We really put some effort into the marking key in this, and Indy, you know, really used something that was close to her heart and had good understanding of not only how to write a brief, but picked a great client. So this new brief has come from Indy. She can talk to it in just a moment as well. I'll just point you in the general, just to help you orient from this helicopter view. We have a new brief. It's got 3 tasks. This is primarily a branding exercise with some mapping. It's a primary and secondary logo. It's a 4-panel brochure with a floor layout and a free day pass voucher and a classic pull-up banner. Now this would usually be done in a day. You would be given 15 minutes to have a think about this brief if this was your first day here in Perth, and you would be given a bunch of images, and Indy's drawn up a mud map or a little sort of location map which you could which you've been asked to redraw for the second task. The images are great. There's high and low res ones in there, so be very mindful of the quality of the images and the stock. And the text is all written up and in the brief, and also separated into its own little module. There is an inspiration library that comes with this because we're giving you more time. So we've also, this is just me directing you into some of what we would like to see in terms of the map. And I've put 2 catalogues up there and linked a couple to these issue catalogues. These are just commercial wayfinding / map making inspiration, because this is a graded or an assessed part of this flyer. There's also some instructions for the pull-up banner, and this is straight off Officeworks. So if you've done a pull-up banner, or if you haven't done a pull-up banner, this is usually what you're faced with. Client wants a cheap banner from Officeworks down the road. All the instructions are there as well. So we're actually going to embed that in the brief. And before I hand over to Indy, just to sort of, as we go through these slides, the map is really important to redraw and inject some creativity into it. I'm not going to set a time frame here, but it is something that's looked at and graded as a separate piece. The inspiration that we're giving you should help inspire you. So not just colours and shapes and symbolism, but consistency, the way that this could roll out into proper wayfinding, and the way the map could look super easy to read at scale and on a small flyer. And as I hand over to Indy, this is what they were presented with at the Nationals in Sydney several years ago. They were given this model railway club, and because they were given a map like this, a lot of the competitors actually redrew a map like that, as opposed to this really colourful purple map on the right-hand side of that slide. So this was their pull-up banners, and notice the maps here. So the all these maps look very similar. Some not even sort of particularly redrawn, just literally live trace / basically replicated. So if that's the map you're given, and then that's the map that appears on the banner, you should be able to assess this almost yourself, and then a map doesn't even appear on this competitor's. So using colour smartly, or using texture and pattern in there, and consistent size symbolism pointing to north, and this is really important. So this was a first task in Sydney. It was going to be one of your first tasks in Perth, but we're going to kick this off as your first 2021 training task. So Indy, did you want to just basically unpack and then tell me when you want me to skip to the next slide, and just do a quick reading through here so we can get on the record of some important things to consider?
Yep. All right, I'll try and summarize as best I can. So basically, Motive Co-working is a co-working space where I'm actually right now. It is owned by 3 younger guys. They created their branding pretty quickly themselves when they first started, and now they're looking to redo that in a way that is more functional than what they currently have. I'd probably recommend not having a look at what they currently have, because if you were doing this in the national competition, you wouldn't have access to the internet, and it will be way cooler to see where you take this based on this information. So task 1 is to do a primary logo and secondary logo. The secondary logo, I think, will just have the difference of the tagline. Yes, yeah, the secondary slogan. The second task is a 4-panel brochure, which will include the floor plan map that you're going to make. On that, you can decide, like Brendan said, if you do it really simple, straightforward, or you really make it a feature of your work. I would recommend the second option. It does have to be functional and usable, but it can also be a really artistic piece. And the back of the brochure will have a ticket which has, you need to mark a perforation line as if it was something that they would bring in on their trial day. There's all specific instructions that Brendan is highlighting there of how to set that up. It's not just a free-for-all, so make sure you look at the details on the technical specs. And task 3 is the banner. Each of these tasks has a document that shows you what to include, what specs, how to set it up, blah, blah, blah. Definitely take the time to read through the whole brief before you get started, because I've summarized that really quickly. Yeah, Brendan, do you want to do that stuff?
Yeah, thanks. This is some previous slides that Indy spoke about, highlighting the additional elements and the brief aspects, and using this checklist method. So this is still really relevant, and when you're working at speed, this is absolutely crucial. So we're just sort of showing this to remind you that the brief you get right now, it is a good idea to actually duplicate it and add your own notes to it, underline, highlight the mays, the musts, and just making sure that you're up to speed with what's needed. You'll notice that I've gone through and actually crossed out some aspects here. I'll go through and update the brief too. I've done that on the slide deck. You don't need to print this, but the PDF that you send through to me, there's a good chance that I'll print it to assess it. So your perforation lines still need to be able to, so I'm basically your printer. So if you don't have perforation lines on the day pass, I won't know where to perforate your free day pass. And likewise with your logos, I've just removed the printouts at 45 mils wide. But during competition, remember, this will take time to get perfect, to send to print. So 6 hours doesn't seem like a lot of time, but you do have some time to mull over this. You don't have to start it today. You can consider recording yourself. We had, I think, a few people do that last time, and it is fantastic. It's nice to do that in the morning, have some snacks, water, and simulate competition conditions. I know that we're still 6 months out, but this will really give you a sense of just how much extra stress is put on you when you're given hardly any time to mull over a great logo or come to the table with a paired fonts or a brand ready to roll and given a mud map that you have to redraw and then add your printouts into it. So if you are going to do this, try and do it in sort of 2 sittings or 1 long sitting, and if you are going to time lapse it, put a clock in the background as well so we can get a sense of how when you're completing tasks. There is also a live streaming ability. I'm not so much interested on the screen as I am watching you work and seeing your milestones. So don't let this be a distraction. If you can record, that's fantastic. If you can't, no dramas. We know it's difficult and the technology often gets in the way. Yeah, and the time lapse is fantastic for everyone else. So I actually really enjoy seeing how people work, the dead ends that you arrive at, and then and how you sort of pull it all together at the end. So deadlines. So we have a good solid 3 weekends. We're saying sort of around this time in March, so Friday the 12th of March. WA people have a long weekend in amongst there on the 1st, I think. So ideally just try and find those 6 hours in 2 major chunks or a single day, whether you've got a day that you can take off during that time or 2 afternoons or a weekend slot. Would like to see you not sort of spread this out and feel like homework. And then upload to Dropbox, of course, and then I get a little notification once that's uploaded to the Dropbox account. And we have a pretty substantial marking key, which is a competition-ready marking key, actually, and will feed back not only some aspects of that, but you can sort of see how you're ranking 6 months out. So get it done while it's fresh. So if you're seeing this recording or if you're getting this now direct from me, it's a good idea to get stuck into this straight away. Don't leave this and the deadline gets more intense and you still want to record and it becomes a chore. Try and get stuck into this, or at least start it, or at least have a look at the inspiration library in the meantime. So Josie and Annabelle, of course, get a little bit of a heads up in that aspect. You can also ask us some questions as well. So if you feel unclear or if there's something that's contradictory in the brief, I've already just noticed that I've got printouts still in the brief, and I've also got incorrect dimensions for the pull-up banner that don't quite match the Officeworks dimensions. I'll go and fix that in the meantime. But if you come across something else that doesn't make sense, please clarify. Any questions, anyone? Not yet. So those links I'll throw on the Facebook group now. So Annabelle and Josie, you'll be able to directly link to that slide deck. The video might take 2 hours to process, trim, and then upload to YouTube. The video will take a little bit longer, but I'll share the brief now on Facebook, and you can get straight into that inspiration library and start to sort of really get a sense of the maps and the imagery and the other assets that you've got access to. Have we missed anything, Indy?
I think that's all. Definitely, I would make use of this slideshow that Brendan's made and go through it probably before you read through the brief, even just looking at each thing that we've pulled out. Obviously, we try and keep this video call quite quick for you, but there's a lot of good stuff hidden in there. And it might be good to read that before rather than reading the brief tonight and then thinking about it for a week. Keeping the brief a bit more for on the day that you do it. Yeah, just get educated on what you're about to do through the slides, maybe. Yeah,
and I might even take a note to start sharing a few of those where the marks are to be made in this. So we're not going to, we're not going to bore you with an Excel spreadsheet that shows you the CIS marking system. But to give you a quick example, there is marks to be had for a beautiful looking day pass. So the day pass is a huge feature of this flyer. and we want it to tear out neatly without destroying the map or destroying, you know, important information. So the way that you interact and the way that that voucher is incorporated into your flyer really is a meaningful design decision that you're making, and there's marks attached to that. So just like the map itself has marks, the voucher has marks, and your typography, your colour, and your creativeness is sort of all will be shared into that Facebook group. So we'll wrap the meeting up early, so this doesn't you know, take too much to rewatch for those who aren't with us today. But thank you and welcome back. And yeah, it's going to get really intense really quickly, and I'm really hopeful that the next 6 months we can skill you up and get you really confident that you understand that these briefs that you're going to get in 6 months are going to be really similar to what you just got today. So spend time, read the brief, ask Indy and myself any questions, and yeah, we can't wait to see the results and catch up again. Thanks for your attendance, Annabelle, Josie, and thanks, Indy. Good to see you. And we'll see you on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Indy. Thanks, guys. See you again. See you, Annabelle. See you, Josie. Thanks for your attendance. Thanks, Josie.